I have like a very brief amount of time. I can live stream. So I was supposed to go to the hospital today for someone's appointment, and that got canceled. So I began talking again about the quote unquote social workers, case managers, caseworkers. Okay, they're mentally insane people that don't do anything. Just so that you know that. It's just the number of them that I've encountered in 15 years, in particular in the past 2 to 3 years. Okay. I explained specifically about Spalding, um, where I was required to do everything for this person, but yet I am worthless. I have no matter. I have no matter. Okay. So, and now they're doing it again at a mental hospital. An actual psychiatric ward is doing it. They're never gonna call me. Obviously, at this point, what would you say, really? What would you say, really, at this point? Okay, just profound morbid insanity. Okay, right. Where you 100%, whoever that person was that Ben had called Brian Buchanan, you 100% told the person if he got rid of his wife, you give him a one-bedroom apartment. And I don't know how he would have a caregiver in that other than a concubine. It's that disgusting. Okay? So you at Spalding, I had to tell them to set up a PT1. You have to remember they told me I had to take them to a campground because we're both homeless, and they refused to give us housing. Absolutely refused to give us housing, but they're social workers. Okay. So right, mentally insane people that just wanna stick their nose in everybody's fucking lives, it's disgusting, and they don't do anything, and they're mental cases, and they all think that they're therapists and saints, and they have no qualifications for that. So, anyway, I'm worthless, okay, and I help the guy with his DTA forms, I do the whole thing with the housing lottery and everything, all that by myself. I take classes to learn how to wipe a guy's ass, okay? They lie and say they don't do a power of attorney there when I write it in their paperwork, and then lo and behold, when you force them with it, they will do it. They tell him he can rip up his power of attorney at any time. Okay? Profound, morbid insanity. I have to tell them to set up a PT1 for the appointment because we're at a campground and we're homeless and he has mass health. They set it up to some address that isn't even on his ID, so clearly that proves that all this stuff's in a medical record, and they lie, including his emergency contact and his spouse. They lie? Okay, they lie, because where'd they get Dorset Street from? That's not on his ID? Nope, that's not on his ID, it's Father Bill's place. I took him to get another mass, photo ID. If he's homeless, then clearly he doesn't have an address, he's at a campground. I'm pretty sure it's Dorset Street. He hasn't lived there. We got back together in May of 2024. Okay, in 25 July, it was over a year that he lived PT1. And then you probably say she can't get you to your appointments because you have profound morbid mental insanity. Okay? I explained the thing about refusing a doctor at Spalding referral to have a physical. Not I don't get him to appointment. She refused to do it. She said a caseworker was going to contact us. She thought she was messaging Brian because he set it up that I get messages from his, uh, because I'm supposed to be his caregiver, clearly. Okay. So I returned the thing saying we just need a primary care physician, like a physical. She says something about connections in the community. Okay. You're gone mentally. You're mentally insane people. We need housing, not connections in the community. That is profound insanity. It doesn't even make any sense. What does that mean? What services are you talking about that are not housing, stabilized housing, and a doctor's appointment? What I got him a therapist. You didn't get him a therapist. I got him a therapist, and that's all that you people will pay for is another social worker that's not a therapist because you have profound morbid mental insanity. And the second that he took off of me, he blew off his therapist. Now he's in a mental hospital, and you still don't call me. So, like I said, don't get yourselves involved in it. And I'm grateful that the man doesn't actually care about. I'd be completely tormented by this shit like 2023, where a deranged person in his deranged family allowed me to believe that he was like, and no one gives him any say in anything. Okay. Right. You just go, I don't care what the fuck he's telling you. It's a whole different thing now. I don't give a shit what he's telling you. This is about you people. It's not about Brian Buchanan. Okay. This is called your judgment. And clearly, everything that I talk into this thing and post is reported to the authorities. Okay. People that give you your funding and people with the thermonuclear weapons. Okay. If you don't believe that, you probably don't because you're so far gone mentally. Anyways, a non-male mouse. So, this is about you. I'm sure some of the stuff you're doing is criminal, but uh, it doesn't matter because he has brain injury and he was sectioned to a mental hospital. And you didn't call his next of kin, his POA, or his healthcare proxy. So you're gone mentally. Like I said, you're in that place trying to figure out he must be a victim of Mary's a victim of domestic violence and can't figure out how to get away from her. And she took all his money. Or you're protecting me because he's a psychopath and he's using me. None of those things are legal or sane. Also, he was sitting in this chair when that person told him he could get housing if he got rid of me. He hadn't taken off yet, and you had no idea what he was going to do. Like maybe he changed at that point, and you know that you never got this person sober, and I did. He was sober for 5 months. So you don't care who takes off from anyone. I know a lot of people, trust me. You don't care if a married couple's in a house or public housing or a Section 8 and the husband has these repeated problems. You would have called me right away. Yeah, you would have. Yes, you would have. But anyway, you're not morphing me into a man's literal slave, and I have no rights to anything. And he has his own apartment and he throws it out like he did at Pearl Hill and calls the fucking police on me. And then they show up going, whose apartment is it? Oh yeah. Sick, sick, sick. So just it's a warning to others, don't get yourselves involved in it. I remember my brother Tommy talking about it. Don't get yourselves involved in it. All they want you to do is be a person's slave, and it doesn't matter how that person treats you. You don't actually control their money, by the way, either. If you're like a payee, you still don't. Somebody else does. You're a literal slave. That's why they won't give me housing or Social Security. Okay. So that's why you can't afford rents. They're going to make sure you cannot afford rents. Okay. And eventually, you people will be beaten down. All right. and then you're going to be personal care assistants because there's not going to be any other way for you to get housing and a paycheck. It's a progressive, morbid mental insanity of primates. The landlords are going to make sure it doesn't matter how many hours you work. They're not even hiring people with degrees in psychology anymore. Just these people with the certificates, or they don't have an education at all. And it's all just about dominance and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with your qualifications or your education. Right. So if you thought you were cocooning yourself by going to school, you're not. They don't care if you have 4 PhDs because people need help. They dictate what the workplace is, in case you didn't know that. People don't have money to pay a private physician and a private psychiatrist and a private psychologist. People don't have the money. You have to get your money from the government. So when they decide that's all that you're getting, insurance is only paying for personal care assistance. You're only getting housing if you're somebody's caretaker, which is their literal slave. Just know that. Okay. So anyway, that's about it in terms of the social workers. Right. I already went over this, but right when he said, I just want to give you peace of mind so that you know that I'm safe. That's sort of like God indicating me he's doing exactly what he did in 2023. He's being rewarded for what he did to me. I think he knows he gets rewarded for doing it. Then he just disappears and pretends he's dead or something. Like, and then there's probably some depersonalization that goes on where he's in house and I'm not in housing and I'm on the street and stuff, like a dominance. He just went up the tier in the dominance ladder again by doing this to me. He's rewarded for doing it. So it's not really unfortunately for you folks. Okay. But just know this, I've been told again, multiple reports about people being told by their doctors that everything is fine, and it's not, because people have access to their medical records and they can see the results of testing that was done. They, they're purposely not treating you, and they don't have any qualifications to treat you. They don't have any brain matter. I explained what God was doing. Right. There's not going to be people allowed to have brain matter that can actually keep doing all that medical stuff because it's an extinction. It's you, my understanding of what Almighty God is doing, so that you know, and it hopefully will save you a bit of confusion and stuff. It's not you being targeted because I've been hearing it from different people. And then also about the people that are going to school and working and they can't afford rents and stuff. Okay. Because you're not going to be allowed to. That's an elite class that will become smaller and smaller as time goes on. You're not going to, people aren't going to be allowed to own homes, okay, or rent apartments. That's why they wanted to do all this voucher stuff. That's why it's called the Progressive Party. They have progressive brain loss, and they degrade more and more different various jobs in a primate kingdom. It takes a very long time for these beings, especially if their baseline is mental retardation. It takes a long time for these beings to realize that they have brain disease and not they're enlightened, not they're in a community, not they're doing what these people are talking about. We're going to do positive things for people's lives. after destroying people's lives? Okay. Just a complete interference, sticking their fingers in everybody's lives, and then they sort of help and control it, and that makes them smarter, and they're part of the elite class. So, anyways, that's that. That's about it that's going on today. I haven't really. It was briefly snowing earlier, and then when I went outside, it stopped snowing. It is cold though. It is very, very cold. And like I said, you have a jackass that's a psychopath sitting in a mental hospital, and to his understanding, and hopefully no one told him anything different. To his understanding, I'm in the freezing cold, and that's probably helping to keep him calm, getting a gratification like that, and then that reduces a need to try to contact me to do more psychopathic things. So, like the mommy got over it, and the mommy's moving on, and the mommy is happy and smiling. But he's in there thinking that the mommy went to the warming center, and isn't this depressing because he's not there after he made me think that he was going to be there. That's why he said, I don't want you to be at the warming center alone. That's why he said it. Like, even within the conversations, yeah, he'll say something and then put it down, even in that conversation. So I don't know if he went off his meds briefly or something, right? Um, that it happens that fast. I mean, to me, that's like a dementia for sure. It's like a dementia. I mean, clearly you're demented. That's demented. Being like that towards a person, that's demented. You stay away from people you don't like. You don't constantly act like you like them, and then within 5 minutes you say something to put them down. So that's like weird. We'll just put it that way. That's like weird. Right. That's the whole thing. Make me think that he wants to go back with me and stuff, and then not do something purposely. Yeah, just eventually when I know he's out of there, then I'll tell you what hospital he was at. I'm sure the government, the people that need to know already know that. I'm not here to help druggies reconnect with Brian Buchanan and disgusting whores. Right. But because clearly you need to know the hospital so you don't go there. Said, um, well, you know too that that's a hospital that hides people. So if you have an actual loved one that does want to be with you and loves you, and say they want it off, or they have a brain injury or something, you might want to check that place and find out if they're being held there against their will. They sectioned them. Yeah, you section someone's loved one and then don't call them. Really bad. Really, really, really bad. I know. It's like Mass General all over again, isn't it? Like 8 days or whatever. Only because he woke up and called me. I wouldn't even know what was going on with him if he didn't call me. Yeah. You need to, like, get it out of your head to some degree. How would they even know that? Are they watching everybody on Facebook and YouTube? Because that's fucking demented. That's what I'm telling you. It shows how sick they are. Right, you go, which thing is it? Like, you just decided you're gonna protect Mary from a psychopath, but you let him call her 3, 4, 5, 6 times? Or you're, like, disgusting animals that just, like, you think you kidnapped a married man with brain injury. Oh, yeah, just they can't win. They can't win. Right. They can't win. Because in order to go, you're protecting me from a psychopath, you would have had to have violated every fucking right on earth where you're watching Facebook and you keep denying that you don't know anything about me. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Mentally scary, mentally deranged. You want that for a mental health team? Yeah. Spooky, scary. So just like Faulkner Hospital, people don't bring people to Faulkner Hospital anymore, right? I explained Mass General, which seems basic mental incompetence. When a person comes in with a wedding ring and a telephone, and then you can't produce a wedding ring or a telephone for about what, a week and a half, 10 to go to Spalding, all of a sudden you have his telephone and his wedding ring. Some people would say, I'm not saying this is necessarily true because you could just be straight out mentally incompetent. Some people would say you did it purposely to cause a fight. Like you have a sickness similar to his. You wanted me to believe he didn't have his wedding ring, that he took it off. Because if you have to admit you have his telephone, why didn't you call me? Get it? It's right in the phone. Right in the phone. So, did I mention when they first gave me a copy of the healthcare proxy he signed that they had the wrong telephone number? Yeah, I would say that's straight out mental incompetence at Mass General. Right. Spalding seems more contrived. I gotta say, that seems more contrived. It's got to do with funding. It's got to do with funding. They may have wanted to send him to another facility that somebody gets paid. But I'm telling you this, I'm letting you know, all of you people, it's because your brains are sick. You're acting like primates. You might, how much money could people possibly have? You're committing criminal acts because you're that greedy. Money's an excuse for your insanity. It most truly is. If you folks had got rid of the monetary system when I told you to, you wouldn't be able to keep hiding under it. You wouldn't be able to keep hiding under it. You have brain loss. You're acting like animals. No one's that greedy. Right. No one's that greedy. You're making up reasons, you're defrauding people and stealing and hiding people's feelings and interfering with people's lives. It's not about the money. You have severe brain loss and you're acting like literal animals. And some of them, like I said, become very sadistic because uh, envy flashes and fear. And they want to hurt you because something you said bothered them somehow. They don't just ever say what they're thinking. It's like annoying. Whereas I do. I actually do. Isn't that pleasant? Excuse me? You haven't got on a train 50 times and went, "Of course someone's sitting there." He went on a tangent one day because someone was sitting next to him and he didn't want them to be. And I didn't go, "Isn't that pleasant?" Yeah, just that's part of fucking like a dementia man right there. It's like a female. It's been going on for months, and then I have to hear this bullshit about negativity again, like 2023 all over again. They throw the whole book at you when they know they fucked up. It's just amazing. They can't be adults. They really do. They throw the whole kitchen sink at you. Forget about ever having an adult conversation with that person. No, psychopaths aren't adults. They have like a child's mind. This is that show I can't stand. I have like my limitations on things. There's a lot of like Christmas movies and stuff on now, which is nice. Sometimes this TV takes forever to change a channel. Let's go, get this fucking whore out of my face, please. I'll just have to shut the fucking whole TV off if it won't change the fucking channel. Thank you. In nature? I don't know. Say that you don't think you're like a beautiful woman, right? If you're asking me, like, so, like, let's compare. Like, who do you think gets more disgusted with that? You go, I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't envy anybody, and I go, in nature, you do this to a beautiful woman, and then you run around like that, like you're pretty and you're a nasty fucking whore. Yeah, in nature, Almighty God wouldn't even expect you to control yourself. That's why they have to go. Yeah, that is most definitely why they have to go. When you have the virgin mother, yeah, it's not about envy. Tell yourself whatever the fuck you want. I had to watch it with one of those whores with the honker fucking nose, and she was saying people were telling her she had a big nose and stuff because you do have a big nose, and you're a repulsive fucking whore. People dying on the ground, and you're running around in a fucking princess outfit and stuff. Not they envy you, and apparently someone said, "Oh boy, you really got them mad, and don't let them get to you." Have any idea how morally depraved you are? How are you letting those hostages get to you? How are you letting that Blessed Virgin Mary get to you? That's sick. That probably goes on in the mental hospital too. Just, well, obviously that dude lives in a denial with flashes of fear. He told me after the brain surgery. Oh, are they back already? It's not that they're back, but that I can't live stream. Don't get me wrong.